She called the cops on my wife, then froze when she saw her federal ID. The conflict begins. We had only lived in the neighborhood for 4 days. Just 4 peaceful days. We were finally settling in after years of moving around, deployments, and temporary housing. This cul-de-sac felt like home, quiet, private, ours. But then came Margaret. She strutted up to our porch like she owned the whole street. Clipboard in hand, sunglasses too tight on her face. She didn't even say hello. "This is a registered HOA zone," she said. "You'll need to join by the end of the week." "I've got the forms right here." I looked at my wife. She smiled. Polite, patient, but firm. "No thank you," she said softly. "We're not interested in joining the HOA." Margaret's eyebrows shot up like she'd been slapped. "Excuse me." "We've read the bylaws," I added. "Our property was never part of the HOA. You can't force us to join." Her voice sharpened. "Everyone joins. If you live here, you obey the rules." But my wife didn't budge. She just nodded calmly and said again, "We're not interested." Margaret's jaw clenched. She grabbed her clipboard, muttering, "You'll regret this." Grief and resistance. Margaret didn't let it go. The next day, she left a warning note on our door. The day after that, she dumped leaves across our driveway from a bag. We later found out my wife never flinched. She gardened like always, sipped her coffee on the porch, waved at neighbors. She didn't fight fire with fire. She didn't speak badly of Margaret. She just existed with grace. But what Margaret didn't know, and what she never bothered to ask, was that my wife had seen worse than this. 10 years in the military, 2 combat tours. She didn't need to raise her voice to command a room. And that kind of quiet strength, it drives people like Margaret absolutely insane. The final confrontation. One morning, Margaret took it too far. She marched right up to our fence, phone already recording, shouting loud enough for everyone to hear. "These people are trespassing on a controlled land. I'm calling the police." I was about to respond when my wife touched my arm. "Let her," she whispered. "Let's see how far she's willing to go." 15 minutes later, 2 patrol cars pulled up. Margaret waved them over with dramatic flair, arms flying like she was directing traffic at an airbase. "That's them," she shouted. "They refuse to join the HOA, and they're violating local codes." But then something happened. One of the officers stepped out of his car, squinted toward our porch, and froze. "Sergeant Major," he said, stunned. Then immediately, snap, a salute. "Good morning, ma'am." Margaret blinked. "What? Why are you?" The officer turned toward her. "Ma'am, this woman is a decorated federal veteran. Her ID grants her rights you might not be familiar with, and I'd recommend you back off immediately." Margaret's mouth opened, but nothing came out. Her face turned white. The other officer whispered something to her. She turned slowly, quietly walked back across the street, and shut her door without another word. The healing begins. The HOA forms never came again. The passive-aggressive notes stopped. And Margaret? She started pretending we didn't exist, which suited us just fine. A week later, we sat on the back porch with mugs of tea in hand. My wife reached into her pocket, pulled out her federal ID, and slid it across the table to me. I smiled. "I didn't even know you kept this on you," I said. She shrugged. "Didn't plan on using it, but I figured if she needed a reminder, I'd give her one, and that was that." Power doesn't come from yelling. It comes from knowing exactly who you are and never needing to prove it. Respect isn't something you demand. It's something you earn, quietly, over time. And when it shows up, it doesn't need to shout.